Hey everyone, welcome to the Curious Girl Diaries podcast. I'm Layla London, aka The Curious Girl. Now, just to let you know, this podcast is not suitable for work. It's also not suitable for anybody under 18. But the rest of you consenting adults, let's get ready to talk about my sex life, sex in general, and everything in between in explicit, raunchy, fun detail. All right, here we go. First of all, I don't think that the word jealous or jealousy is a nasty, negative, bad word. And I think that if you care about somebody, that you're not going to necessarily be jumping up and down about the fact that they're sticking their penis in some other lady's vagina. You know, for women, I wish other women would just stop nitpicking other women, because I'll tell you what, it does not come from the guys. All right, hello, ladies. This is, well, hopefully what I will be predominantly a ladies-only podcast. Men, if you want to listen, you can feel free. But it has been a while since I did, I think sometime last year I did girls only or whatever. And I thought, you know, since here we are, October, and I'm going to be shutting this down on December 31st, I thought I need to do one more, podcast just for the ladies. I mean, I have a lot I want to say, and I got to get some stuff off my chest because a lot has changed. Things have, some things have changed, some things haven't, but there's some things I just need to convey here. So, I want to get to that. I'm going to start with, predominantly, I know that my listening audience is mostly men, although it's not quite as high as I thought it was as far as the split. It's about a 60-40, according to my, the information I get from the website. It's all generic. Trust me, I don't know who anybody is. I don't know anything about you guys, but it does say, it does say like male or female. How it extrapolates that information, I have no idea, but it's roughly 60-40. Now, that's higher than I thought. And, I think the reason that as far as the female population, the reason I thought it was less is because I don't hear as much from the females. Men, I guess, I'm a woman on here. I'm talking about sex. I'm, talking naughty stuff, and men gravitate towards that, or they're going to be a little more vocal or reach out to you. So the women, while there's women listening, the ones that actually I get interaction from, I can tell you that percentage is probably more like 80-20. So probably I get 20% of questions and comments and correspondence and things like that will be from women. And then the remaining 80% will be from men. So that's why I always kind of thought it was skewed a lot higher. But, when I just, oddly enough, the other day I was just kind of looking at some of those website statistics got kind of put in front of me, and I was like, oh wow, that's kind of interesting. I seriously thought, that it was a lot lower for the women, but I'm glad that women are listening. When I originally started this social experiment, I was really hoping it would be just all women, that would be following me, and that they'd be wanting to do, kind of like their own sexual road trip, or in some way that this would be interesting and informational to them. It's something I would gravitate towards. But I guess on that note, I can see myself really listening to some sex podcasts, because I do listen to sex podcasts. But from other females, because I'm of course I'm curious and interested in what they're doing, since I'm doing it too. But I don't, and just I guess put it into perspective. I don't send them messages or interact with them, so I get it. But I've got some questions here from some women that I think are actually pretty poignant, and some issues that I want to address. And then we'll talk about, some other topics too. So the first question that I have here from a female follower is basically it's regarding jealousy, and she just says, how do you jealousy? How do you handle that, and how do you not get jealous? And this is in the context of because I'm seeing multiple guys and nobody's in a one-on-one committed relationship. Everybody's allowed to kind of do what they want and see other women, and I guess how do I not get jealous about that? And, I think I've probably addressed this somewhat. I've sprinkled in little comments and tidbits along the way about this, but it's a really good question. So let me just kind of hit the nail on the head with that. First of all, I don't think that the word jealous or jealousy is a nasty, negative, bad word. And I think that if you care about somebody, that you're not going to necessarily be jumping up and down about the fact that they're sticking their penis in some other lady's vagina. You don't have to, that doesn't have to fire your rockets, you don't have to be excited about that. And I think the converse is true for men. They don't have to be, it's not like they have to like the fact that, I'm seeing other guys. But I think what the thing about that word or those sentiments or those feelings is, how do you respond to those? If you turn into a big jackass about it and you start doing passive aggressive things, or you're not handling it well, then that's bad. That's when it gets bad. And so to say that I don't get jealous, in the context of, does that make am I thrilled about that thought? That's not true. That's not true. I don't like, knowing about that stuff. It's interesting. Do you know the one person that it bothered me the most with was Clark? And I don't know why. And actually, I'm having dinner with him tonight. We're gonna go to sushi. So, it was very strange, and this was, because he's one of the very first people I connected with. And when I, and maybe it was more so because it was in the beginning and things like that. And I just was a little less, maybe a little out of my element, so to speak. It bothered me. I mean, not in a freaky, stupid kind of a way, but just what I realized was, and he kind of, I think I just kind of said it, like, well, maybe let's keep that stuff to yourself. I just didn't want to hear it. It's okay that it's going on, I just didn't want to hear it. Now, it really does depend on, whom what context we're talking about that with. I mean, so as an example, like, and this isn't, by the way, this isn't really a reflection on how I feel about the person. There could just be different things that either, it sets well or it doesn't. And I'm not sure what it is. Again, let's just kind of shelve the basic premise of this is like the feelings part is okay. It's how you handle it. That's where I think the word jealousy and, that's why it becomes so negative and when it gets a bad rap. But, so with like BE, I like a lot of the guys, like in BE in particular, like I like to talk about it, like, I don't know. It's fun. It's like you have a confidant, like, oh, you're doing this, I'm doing that. And, and then we come together and there's just a lot of, respect and caring and, love for each other in a just like really great friendship and just a bond. And it doesn't bother me, and I think the people like, so when I see these swingers couples and things like that, I think that's kind of the key. The people that that are in that mode and that can do it, they're, for whatever reason, they found a person that they can be on this higher, I don't level or frequency with. It just, it's like, it's okay. You know, like you really don't, you understand and know that in no way does that detract from or how that person feels about you. And maybe it's about a confidence thing in the relationship that you have. And so, you know, again, I'm referencing PE, you know, like I feel like we have a really strong, open kind of connection. And I'm not worried about anybody that's going to shake that foundation. And so maybe, you know, maybe another way to kind of explore this is that, you know, you're more likely to have those feelings with someone that you're, excuse me, unsettled with. And that where you don't know particularly, you know, how things are, and you're not stable and solid with them. So if you're, and you could be liking them a lot, right? So let's go back to the, you know, the Clark scenario. You know, in the beginning when I first started doing this and I'm seeing him and I'm like, oh my God, this guy's so hot, you know, and I'm really liking him and just clicking with him and connecting, you know, the thought of him seeing someone else bothered me. Now, you know, it wouldn't, because it's just different. You know, I know him better now. I'm more connected to him. I feel really secure in, you know, whatever, you know, in our, I guess our core basic friendship, you know, just the bond that we have, you know, the openness and the closeness that I feel like. I just don't worry. I don't worry. So I think there's, you know, that's kind of the defining thing is that, you know, if you find yourself kind of getting out there, a little spun, and you're taking those basic feelings, it's okay to say, I'm not wild about that thought. I don't like that, or that makes me uncomfortable, or you know, no, I just don't want to know. Nothing wrong with that. That doesn't make somebody weak or, you know, or weird. It's just if you take that and then you start reacting to it in a way that's inappropriate or, you know, bitchy or manipulative or weird towards the other person, you know, that's when you say, I got a problem. You know, I can't handle this well. And so I got to figure out a solution to that. But so, you know, the core question here is, how do I not get jealous? It's not that I don't get jealous in the sense that where I'll feel like, or I haven't felt, you know, like, yeah, I'm not wild about that idea. Or that's too much information. I just don't need to know, you know, and I handle it that way. But, you know, if, you know, if I can take it to the extreme, have I ever felt like just out of my mind crazy where I'm acting a fool and, you know, lashing out at that person or someone else because, you know, of believing or knowing that they're seeing someone else? No. Or even thinking that they are? No, I've never taken it to that extreme, but, you know, again, all I can say is if you find yourself in that situation, you've got to that's kind of when you really got to take a hard look in the mirror, because it's not about the other person. It's about you. It's about you. And you know, you'll have to kind of do a little soul searching on that one. But, it's, for me, in relationships that are open, it's about managing managing the feelings and knowing kind of where your limitations are with each person, and they'll be different with each person. So I hope that helps. Okay. Next question. How did you find all these good guys? Well, that's kind of interesting. I won't talk about the method, but more so I think the kind of the way to look at this is because they're all good. I mean, some of them are stinkers, but some of them have been stinkers, right? And I've talked about that. But for the most part, yes. I mean, I really do have this great ability to attract these amazing guys. I mean, seriously, like, I can't tell you how lucky I feel and how the hell these guys are just running around, without being snatched up and pinned down and married, I don't know. But I'll tell you this, I actually believe that and this is just, I don't want this to come off a way that it's not, but when people say, how do you find these good guys? They're attracted to me. So I do actually, for the most part, have throughout my whole life, have an uncanny ability to attract good guys. And that's really kind of by the standard that you set for yourself. And you know how they say water seeks its own level and, things like that. What I believe about this, and I want to talk about this a little bit more, so I'll answer this kind of briefly and then really kind of dig in later, is that you really just have to be the kind of woman that is so, I guess, for lack of a better word, amazing, that, men are just drawn to that. And men are drawn to a lot of different things. But if you put yourself up on a pedestal and believe and know that about yourself, people are going to be, there's men, they are dialing into that frequency. Trust me. They will, they will see you coming. You emit a radar, like I said, a frequency, a smell, a hormone, a chemical, I don't know. They will zero in on it. You're going to be, if you have just basic level self-esteem, I'm going to say, you're kind of going to be head and shoulders a lot above a lot of other people, because, you're going to walk in and you're going to be like a breath of fresh air. So that's, I don't know how else to put it. I mean, that's been my secret little weapon, and it seems to work. That's about all I can tell you, but I think it really, you have to be the kind of woman that is attracting these men, and you have to be, put down on your, like what you think a great woman is and what you strive for and what you want to be. And then, work on being that. And as you become that, and as you are that, you'll find the guys that you're attracting are on that same level too. So, or they're reaching for that, and that's good too. I mean, that's if they're drawn to that kind of person. I mean, again, some men are drawn to, and it's not like a bimbo type of scenario, right? Where a woman's just kind of always dressed trashy, always leads with her body, not her brains, and you're not going to get that kind of guy. I mean, or you are, or again, or maybe that's the kind of guy you want to catch. You kind of have to. It's like fishing. You got to use the right lure, but male things or animal species are attracted to shiny, bright, whatever. You got to make yourself the shiny, bright thing that the kind of man you want is attracted to. And, and then, they'll start kind of showing up. So I don't know if that was vague or not, but I think I'll get into it a little bit more as we go along here in this podcast. Um, and then the next question here is, it says, and I only did 3. I just did these 3 because I kind of thought these were big. I wanted to touch on some of the bigger issues, and not, I guess, more universally issues that could be universal for women, not more super specific, finite, that only apply to certain ladies. But it says, I don't have the same body type as you. How can I feel confident when I don't fit the typical beauty standard? Well, ugh, this is I think, okay, this is a universal issue, I think, for women. So forget about what my body looks like and what your body looks like and what the girl next to you, her body looks like. For some reason, women are so judgmental, and I'll put myself in that category. I have been harsh on myself about physical appearance and things like that. And the only thing I can say about that is, first of all, thank goodness the beauty standards have changed. I mean, they do change and evolve over time. But there is always, I know what you're saying, there is always kind of some stupid standard or, kind of what you typically see. And I get it. I mean, I see this stuff too. But, every woman, I believe, on the planet nitpicks herself. I've never come across one that doesn't. Now, that for me is absolutely at a minimum. And here's why. Because a long time ago, I just realized, I have what I have. And I have a certain body type. Here's the funny story. Okay, let me tell you this. You know how right now those Brazilian butt lifts are in? Like, everybody wants a big, bubbly, juicy butt. Well, I don't have a big, bubbly, juicy butt. And the only way I could have one of those is if I genetically alter my body. So I went in I talked about a while back when I did the vaginal tightening, when I did that laser and I went in and they did they did that. I never went back for more sessions, which reminds me, I might be kind of fun to do that. But at any rate, when I went in and just, I had my Groupon. Remember when I talked about I had my Groupon? I went in and did one little treatment. I don't know if it seemed like it helped. Who knows? I was already tight anyway, but I'm like, I got a Groupon, may as well do it. Can't hurt, right? Wouldn't hurt to be even tighter than tight, right? But at any rate, so I went in and they said, well, is there anything else? Of course, this is what they do. They get you. They're like, well, is there anything else you want to have to talk to the doctor about today? I'm like, yeah. I'm sitting there and up on the screen, he's flashing all of these like Brazilian fat transfers, like, okay, we'll make your butt like super, super big and round and curvy. And I'm like, like, I kind of think on my smaller frame, that would look kind of hot, right? So if I had a little bit more of a booty. And so I go and to have the guy look at me, and they're sitting there and they're like pinching legs and arms and my stomach. And they're like, where, and they're looking at me like, well, where do you think we're going to take this fat from? And I'm going, well, what about right here? This little spot right here. What about that? And they're like, no, you don't understand. Like, you need like a lot. We need to transfer a lot of fat because some of it's going to stick and some of it's not. Some of it's going to die off, basically. Like, they're going to harvest it and stick it in there. And then, I guess only a certain percentage of it survives and sticks. So you could spend, in theory, you could spend all that money and have none of it really stay. So the way the doctor comes in and, because the assistants are like, I don't know if you're really a candidate for that. Maybe you need like implants. And I'm thinking like, I'm not going to get some fucking implants in my ass. But anyway, so he comes in and he says, well, you're going to need to gain weight. And then and I'm like, what? Oh no. No. I can't do that. That's not going to happen. Like, I exercise, I run, I go to yoga. It's like that's how I keep my mental sanity. What are you talking about? He's like, well, you're gonna have to stop that and you're gonna need to eat to gain weight. And going, oh, okay. So anyway, that idea went out. But here's the point. The point is this. I have what I have. And quite frankly, this body has moved me around in my life. It has been good to me. It's gotten me through 2 marathons, one of which, was not so, just it tough, and carried me through the stresses of life and life events and just everything. And so I think when I was probably about, late 20s, I just, realized that, I have what I have, and I don't have a super curvy figure, and I'm not built like that. None of the women in my family are built like that. And, and here's the interesting part about that though, is that as we're getting into this stuff is that, for women, I wish other women would just stop nitpicking other women, because I'll tell you what, it does not come from the guys. In doing this and putting myself out there for 2 years, and I put very few pictures of myself actually out there. But guys do want to know, like, well, what do you look like? What does your body look like, right? So I've posted a few pictures. I don't even think 5. Well, maybe 5. I mean, like full body pictures, not 5, not even 5, maybe 2, 2 or 3, over 2 years. But the point is about that is that, I've never had a man criticize my figure. You know where the criticism comes from? Other women. And quite frankly, that to me is unacceptable. It's disheartening, not in the sense that, you're going to change the way I feel about myself. You're not going to change the way I feel about myself. I look the way I look, and you know what? I know the response to that by men, and since I'm predominantly interested in them, the response to that by men is very, very favorable. So, as far as that whole, making me personally feel bad, that doesn't happen. But what's interesting in that is that that's where it comes from. I mean, really, it's not, that's coming from other women, and you hear all this stuff about, accept our bodies, and we need, no body shaming, and we should tear down women and blah, 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 blah. You know what? That's true. And it starts and stops with women. So if that's what you're saying, and that's the kind of shit that you're posting and preaching on your, throughout your life, and you're saying that, or, you're posting that crap on your Tumblr, then fucking live it. Don't be a hypocrite. Don't rip other women down about the way they look. You don't have to like it. But it's interesting that that's where, I can just tell you, in this whole 2 years, Not a one negative comment from a man. Never. Not once. It's only ever come from other women. And to be honest, obviously I know what that's about. It's not about, does that woman think I'm too skinny, or I'm too, this, that, or the other, or that my figure's disgusting and repulsive? No. It goes back to our first question. It's about jealousy. It's about being jealous about what, and it's really ridiculous. So, and but by the way, I'll just say this too, through the course of that, the one thing, as I've found, just going through this process, and when I'm putting myself out there, just having people that don't like you or that say negative things, I never have, and I never will. I'll go on record on saying this. I will never get in the gutter with another woman and fight about figures, our physical figures. Like, if someone's saying you're unattractive, or you have, if they're ripping on your figure, I absolutely, that is getting in the mud. I will not get in the mud with you. I won't go there. I'm not gonna, and so a lot of the where my silence and where I don't respond to people or comments like that it's just because I absolutely, will not respond in kind regarding that subject matter. I won't say, the converse, well, you're a fat pig, or you need to eat less, or why don't you get on the treadmill a little bit longer? I mean, not even, that's like, it's so stupid and ridiculous. And I just don't look at other women that way. I don't look at it like, I'm not looking at their figures to tell me who they are or about them. I'm listening to what they say and what they do. That tells me whether they're attractive or not. That's what I'm zeroing in on. So, for the person that asked this question, I'm sorry, I know I kind of went off on a tangent there, but it is one of the things that's become, it's on my forefront, on my radar. Very interesting subject matter is just, like I said, literally from this social experiment, I can tell you in 2 years, not one comment about my figure in a negative way from a man. Not one. And they can comment. They're free to comment just like anybody. It's never been negative. It's the only responses that have been negative have come from females. And that says nothing about me and my figure, and it says everything about them. So, for the person that's interested in their, figure, your figure is who you are. And I would say, learn to love it. And, I'm all about being healthy and healthy lifestyle for whatever that means for you. Because trust me, men don't care. They don't care. The guys that date me date women with other body types that are completely the opposite of mine. They're not drawn to those women, and, because they appreciate the confidence and the, and the kind of the who of who that girl is. I mean, that's what they're drawn to. It's not their body per se. And so that's the only ones that are stuck on that really are females. So, have an honest talk with yourself about where this comes from and why you feel that way. And there's nothing wrong with it, but trust me, it starts and stops with you. And you're the only one that has any control over it. You can lose weight. You could have a, firmer ass, flatter stomach, and you could still have that inner dialogue, or wherever those feelings are really coming from, you'll take those with you. You could be a perfect 10 and still have that. So it's not about, it's not about the outside package. But there's been times in my life, especially when I was younger and when I didn't get that, like I look back on my photos and, I was even, if the haters think I'm skinny now, this is the heaviest I've ever been. We're kind of we're a bit of a stickly pack. So the women in my family are, and it's funny, people get teased for being, too big. When I was younger, it was just like skinny, and tits, tits on sticks. But, and I, back then, and I look back and I go, God, I'll look at something and think, I didn't appreciate how great I looked. I did not appreciate, it's too bad. It's too bad. I didn't value the body that I was walking around in back then, and again, if you're in good health and your body's carrying you through life, you really give it some respect, and yourself, and go easy on yourself. And if anybody comes along and is judging you for that, fuck them. Seriously, give them the fucking middle finger. And give them the Layla middle finger. And that's where, you have my permission to tell them to just, fucking suck it. And you don't need to address them, but you just have to show them that, hey, this bullshit, your insecurities, I'm sorry, you don't put those on my doorstep, babe. They don't work for me. That just doesn't work. You got to try something else. That's not the button to push. It's not working. So I hope that helps. And I know I spent a lot of time on that, but I'm passionate. I am passionate about this issue. I don't like the fact that it's so submissive in the sense that, there's all this, oh, don't body shame. Women are saying, don't body shame us. Hey, it starts and stops with us, and other women are doing it to other women. Do you get that? You don't want to be body shamed? Don't fucking body shame anybody. And that means yourself. Put yourself on that list too. But that's where it's going to start and stop. And when other women stop picking on other women, that's where, that's when it'll be over. Because trust me, it is not the guys. They don't give a shit. If you're happy, bubbly, nice, friendly, sweet, and you want to suck their cock, they're going to love you. All right. There you go. Now the next thing I wanted to again get on my soapbox to the ladies about is we'll go back to the this is, I think, is encompassing of all of these questions 1, 2, and 3. The jealousy, how you find these good guys, and just your overall image of yourself. I'm going to tell you, this is the secret. Here's the Layla secret right here. And I thank my dad for this. And I mentioned this, actually my parents, but my just, it doesn't matter who says it to you. If you hear it from me and it's the first time you've ever heard it, apply it. Okay. But it's this kind of basic principle about, put yourself on a fucking pedestal. I mean it. Don't wait for some guy to come along and put you up there. Girlfriend, get your ass up there. Up on that pedestal. That's where you belong. You are something to reach for. You're something that guys should be fucking fighting for. They should see you and be like, oh, I want that. If you present yourself as the low-hanging fruit, that's all you're ever going to be. Seriously. And you get to decide about where you land on that spectrum. You do. Not anybody else. You do. So, it's basically having, where does all this self-esteem come from? And, how getting these good guys. And it's because I set the standard and they rise to the occasion. And if they don't, they're gone. Period. That doesn't say anything about them. That only says, I, in my life, as a woman, expect a certain thing and want a certain thing and need a certain thing. And I'm going to make sure that because I want, need, and expect certain things, I will get those. I will create those. I will attract the type of person that's going to mesh well with me. That's not saying it's a one-way street. Of course it isn't. This is not being selfish. This is about putting, knowing your self-worth. The problem is, and I don't know why, for some reason, again, women, we seem to have this more than men where we don't know our self-worth, or we lower the bar so that some low-hanging fruit picker can pick us. Right? That is not good. No. Don't do it. Please don't do it. It's ridiculous. I can't stand it. Makes me ill. Really, literally makes me ill. Stop going outside yourself. Focus on you first, what you want, what you need, and trust me, then the right guys are going to be gravitating towards that. But, it's like, again, look at nature. The low-hanging fruit gets picked off. The weakest of the pack gets picked off. You're not going to be appreciated. You might be eaten and devoured for a couple meals, but you're not the girl. You're not the woman that ultimately these guys are going to want, or the guy, that you think you have in your mind with all these wonderful qualities, he's going for the girl on the pedestal. That's where you need to be. Step up there. And what I was saying about, what my dad taught me was this interesting little thing about basically saying, you know what? You can say, because I would say all these things. I want this, I want that, And he just, he would say, you know what? You can say anything you want with a smile on your face. And basically, that means you can tell somebody to fuck off. You can tell somebody no. You can tell somebody that's inappropriate, not okay with me. You can tell somebody this is not my standard. This is, as long as just do it with a smile on your face. Do it being this pleasant, nice, beautiful, attractive, powerful woman. And you can have and say anything you fucking want. And he's right. He's so right. I'm telling you, it has worked for me my whole entire life. That and problem solving. I get that and my problem solving skills. So, I just think that ladies, we're ultimately the ones that are in control of ourselves, and we overcomplicate things because we have all these emotions, and that's great. We have all those emotions and everything, and it's wonderful because we're diverse and we're caregivers and we're all these things. But sometimes we got to get out of our own way. Men are so much simpler and easier, and we really kind of make it so hard on them. And then, and then we start tearing down each other, and it's not productive. So if you're finding any of your energy going in that direction, and you're not just focusing on you and, kind of making yourself into the best partner, in whatever context that's going to take on for someone else, the best type of female that you can be, the best person you can be, you're really just wasting your time. Just wasting your time. You're like a one-legged duck. You're just going in circles. You're not going to know, you're not going to get the result you want. And then you're going to be frustrated. And then you're going to start, again, that's when you're frustrated, you're lashing out, you're looking outward, you're blaming other women, you're blaming, society and all that stuff. It's stupid. Don't do it. So avoid the jealousy. And put yourself on a pedestal, and you'll find there's guys that are, the guys that are going to come along and reach for that. Those are the only ones you're going to see. You're not going to see the guys that want to pick the low hanging fruit. They're too far down there. They're not even going to come by. They're like, too much work. They're going to go for the easy ones, and especially too, ladies, if you have daughters, or even if there's guys that are listening to this, God, if you have daughters, tell them to put them, put them on a pedestal. This is never bad behavior. You'll never go wrong when women think highly of themselves and when they have a high self-esteem. You just won't. That's not teaching somebody to be snobby and inconsiderate and uncaring. No, it's not what I'm saying at all. You're teaching them to have their shit together, know who they are, handle their, a great partner. And you're not going to, and they won't be, you're not going to worry about them bringing home some fucking deadbeat loser. So there you go. There's my public service announcement. I hope that this podcast has been interesting to women. Like I said, I've only got 2 more months of it, and then I'm going to be done. And truly, the initial focus for me when I started this was obviously for me. It was a personal thing for me. But then I was really hoping other women, would pick up on it and appreciate it and in some way see a small part of themselves in me, or something that maybe was inspirational. And there was some sort of takeaway. So whether that has been or hasn't been, I don't know, but it's still my genuine wish. And I hope that even if it's just on an entertainment level, that I've been entertaining. All right, there we go. Thanks, ladies. Please, between now and the end of the year, don't be shy. You may send me your questions and comments, and I love all that. Thank you so much for listening, and have great. Put yourself on a pedestal. Have some good sex. Get what you want. Want and need. All right. Take care. Bye. Thanks so much for listening. And if you like what you hear, refer me to a friend. And make sure you're following me on social media. Also, go to the website, thecuriousgirldiaries.com, and join my subscribers-only list for access to exclusive content. And as usual, questions or comments, you can always email me at curiousgirl@thecuriousgirldiaries.com.